And here we are in game 1 today. Again, it is in the Collins Dictionary against Jomi. I'll be going first. First thing I'll be looking for, of course, is whether there is anything interesting we can do with the Z. Failing that, probably just something like puts. I mean, unless we want to keep the Z for a hook or something, but... yeah, nothing quite like Topaz or anything else. I think this does leave me slightly vowel heavy, but it does get rid of something to clunk like the U. Let's just go with it. Like I said, a little vowel heavy, and unfortunately it does duplicate. Okay. Okay, just gonna make sure we have our drawing tool up and running. There we go. So yeah. I guess we'll just have to see what the next play is going to look like. I mean, I certainly didn't create a very good board situation for the kind of tiles that I'm holding. But we'll just have to sit through this and see what happens. Cordial Snail, welcome. Cordial Snail, one thing we certainly haven't tested is how the dictionary bot would play along with the notorious butt spot that I see on so many other channels. We may have to experiment with that someday, but today is not that day. So yeah, currently in terms of what I'm going to do, I'm likely just going to try some kind of play like OB or Bio or something like that that would get rid of the duplicate vowels. Obviously, this is not the position I'll be looking at after my opponent takes his turn. But, you know, you'd be looking at something like this, just basically a rack management play. Jeep with a G. That looks very much like a Collins thing. I unfortunately don't think I have anything that would go on the end of ZE over here, so we'll just have to think about it for 1 second. And yeah, I was thinking, you know, some kind of B play on top of the UG, but I think we just need to do a bit of a rack management play here and just dig myself out of trouble. I really don't like scoring so few points, but... oh wait, I isn't even a word. IP isn't even a word. Never mind. Can't do that. Like, you could do something like Bio. The I would be kind of a dangerous spot, of course. Could also just dump something else down low. Not too keen on most of the options I'm looking at here. I mean, this is kind of a silly play. We can... like, I don't really like keeping all that Drek with BII and all that. It doesn't really set me up to go anywhere next turn. We might also just do this. That's actually not terrible. Allows me to put the S or potentially a D on the end afterwards. Don't like the double I. But IWI is a word in Collins, and that could dig me out of this afterwards, perhaps. Yeah, so if I wanted to go, you know, over with the D somehow, that's certainly a possibility. Otherwise, I would be looking at, well, certainly getting rid of as many I's as I can. You know, with a play like this, and we would be keeping the D for some potential afterwards. Would I still want to dangle the W on top of the triple? I think it's actually not too bad. I'm kind of liking that, actually. I mean, we still have some things we can do here. You know, again, with the D coming this way. Or maybe even just some kind of regular scoring play going to the W, so yeah, Cordial Snail, when you look up the words in the define bot, if you see the pound or octothorpe symbol next to word, it means it's only valid in the CSW dictionary that you see noted on the top right, the Collins Scrabble word dictionary. So that's what the pound symbol means. And so that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't be totally familiar with the word Jeep. It's simply because I'm more accustomed to playing the other dictionary. So I don't know my short words here quite as well as I should. So yeah, I mean, we'd certainly be looking even at something like dig here for 35. That's really not too bad. Just going to check this carefully to see if there's maybe anything we can do that's interesting here. Like, you know, Wadi would give me 38, but has a much worse leave. I think for the sake of actually keeping decent stuff, I should just go dig. Kind of obstructs this lane down here, but that's not really too much of a consideration, I think. We've got plenty of places to go after this. Cordial Snail, 104. Yeah, I'll see how I can fit that in, Cordial Snail. I might have to wait until the end of the game because I am on the clock here. So you might have to remind me at the end of this round unless I can sneak one in between turns while my opponent is still going. I'll see if I can sneak it in, actually. While I'm also thinking about what to play on the next one. We might be able to fit it in, actually. I might just have to think at the same time about what it is I'm actually holding. Unfortunately, I don't think I have the reading image, or do I? Yeah, I might. There we go. So here's number 104. To me, fair friend, you never can be old, for as you were when first your eye I eyed. Such seems your beauty still. 3 winters cold have from the forest shook 3 summers' pride. 3 beauteous springs to yellow autumn turned, in process of the seasons have I seen. 3 April perfumes and 3 hot Junes burned. Since first I saw you fresh, which yet are green. Ah, yet doth beauty, like a dial hand, steal from his figure, and no pace perceived. So your sweet hue, which methinks still doth stand, hath motion, and mine eye may be deceived. For fear of which, hear this, thou age unbred. Ere you were born, was beauty's summer dead. Okay, glad we managed to fit that in the course of my opponent having a potentially difficult turn. I probably should have thought about whether we have a potential bingo. The only place that really strikes me as one to look at for 8s is through the E here, and I don't think we quite see that. Cordial Snail, thank you so much for the sub. Failing that, we could look at something going here, or perhaps something going here using the S. Like, I'm trying to look at the SK ending, for instance, and seeing if that would actually get me anything good. Not exactly sure. Let me just think about my rack for a moment. Yeah, because I'd ideally like to have this hook used for something that would hook onto the K. I should look a little more carefully at whether we might actually have something. If not, the question is, do I burn my S now to make some kind of play like, you know, for example, Stork 38? Or do I hold it? And we'll have to determine that in just a moment. And Shalom Gabi, welcome. Yeah, I do want to take a moment just to look at this rack because it feels like it has potential. And we'll see if I'm perhaps missing something. So we'd be looking at something like this. I don't really recognize it. You know, you'd be looking at a lot of things that wouldn't take the E in this front position anyway. Maybe the RE starts? No, not really. I don't think this is going to be anything, so. We can kind of close up like this. I actually kind of want to keep the A in case the A hook will go down there. The other thing we can do is also just do like a small play like this. 28 points. Just leave this fairly volatile, but we have the S to use for that afterwards, so. Maybe this is not too bad, because then we can still draw towards the bingo. I don't know about that. Because I could have gotten sort of a 30 to 40 point play with the K going this way somehow, and I'm behind by enough that maybe a stronger scoring play might have been a better idea. I think Runyons is good. Unless I'm thinking of the wrong spelling. I feel like this is actually close to something. Do not check it in the bot, by the way, while my turn is still on, just so you know, if you are new to the Scrabble stream. Do let me think about it first until I potentially try it or miss it. And yeah, Shalom Gabi, we have had reading Shakespeare sonnets as a channel reward here when I'm playing other games like Mario Maker for a long time. I've been saying for a while now that I should expand the range of channel point readings that we actually do here, but it's been a while since I've taken a look at that side of the stream and how to do it. Now, Runyons, I think, if we play it, and I'm just trying to think about whether this is the correct spelling. I believe I would be looking at the UG spot over here. I don't really see a better place for it. I think we'll just go for it. I'll try it. It might be wrong. I feel like I might have phonied with something that looks very similar to this before, but we'll try it and see how it goes. Having the Q, no U, but we do have Q, A, T, and we do have, it was a D as well, so we have a couple of different options for Q without U, depending on what stays open. So for example, QAID, QADI over here. QAT over to triple, looks like it's almost certainly going to be the thing we'll actually do. Maranera. Maranera. Like, I'm thinking of stuff like marinara. And this is probably right. This is a very strong opponent I'm playing against, but it's 5-point challenge, and I really need to learn the proper psychology of 5-point challenge, shall we say. Also, QAT down here, it's going to be 50, that's going to be to play. 41 down here, but that, or rather like this to keep QAT, but I think the Q play has to go first. Marinara, let's check it. Although if it gets kicked off, though, I mean, it's not like I'll have the Q spot anyway. So that's a bit of a consideration, that I have a pretty convenient Q spot to play out of that right now. That will at least catch up with it somewhat. 5-point difference? Sometimes it really does make a difference. Let's do it. And it's not good? Okay. So, opponent is holding what? AAA, ERMN. And we need to find a new place for the Q. Interestingly enough, We should just block this. This is clearly how we should go. Unless he just finds something better, but... And I know he doesn't have the tiles to actually use the queue. Yeah, glad I made the correct call there. Like I said, it is 5 points, but I'm reluctant to just challenge anything uncertain, because I have had some Collins games in the past, quite a few Collins games that ended up being decided by challenging a little too aggressively. But at the same time, when it's going to be that big of a swing, I think that's appropriate. I think it's also a consideration that I did, in fact, have a queue play, so it's not... like I was kind of stuffing myself with this turn. The other thing, too, is that even if I got 50 down here, he could very easily follow up here with something gigantic, and so that would not really have brought me back so much. So, AME, let's just take that off the list. We know he's still holding AARN. I unfortunately don't have an A because he's been hogging all of the A's. We see 5 A's in the pool, and he's got 2. Otherwise, I would have something like Trank over here. Okay, let's see. If it were not for the Y, this looks like it's actually quite close to something. And I should, in fact, look. Because it's sometimes too easy to give up on stuff like this when I see the Y. So we can look at, stuff like the cryo prefix. And you just never know. Failing that, we'll just lay off some of those tiles somewhere. Yeah, just going to look at some of the common prefixes. CON, COR. Some of the less common prefixes, like, Saito or... No, I think I need to play that off. This is not too bad. A little heavy on the vowels and the leave, but it does obstruct quite a bit. I think we go for it. Unfortunately, there is no out hole, I don't think. I do wonder if I missed something on that rack. That did look like something I should check afterwards when we walked through the analyzer. Like I said, a little heavy on vowels, and the U now has even less value than it usually does because the Q is already on the board. And yeah, so we'll just see what this gets me. Yeah, Oves does take the L in front, not that that's any use to me right now. And yeah, tactics, as far as Runyons go, I think the spelling that I always confuse it with is trying to go R-U-N-I-O-N-S with only one N. I think that might be a phony. But I know I've seen... I have some particular confusion about this word because of a phony that I played in the past, and I think it might be with a U. Enestra. I know Enestrus, Enestri... Enestra. This is very high probability. Let me just think about this for a moment. It would be Collins only, if so, because I believe... I know the stem, right? Like... Because it's Centera, I think, unless I'm thinking of Centero in TWL. Feels like it's the kind of high probability thing that he absolutely knows cold, though. And I think I may have seen it. So let me think about this for a moment, because I have looked at some of this really high probability call-in stuff, but yeah, I think it is part of the same Enestri, Enestris, or Enestrum set. Enestris. Do I have anything that can go down here with the H, or here with the H? I always just want to go like small play with the H. Probably not giving that away, although the US starts. No, because yeah, I'd like to get rid of the U somehow, but probably not at that expense, given that would open up like crazy. Yeah, I think I will take it. Anestra, like he would know it as a set with Centera for sure. Like it's the kind of thing he would know cold. But then what do I do here? Way down on time as usual when I talk too much. Too many vowels. Maybe just through here, actually. Didn't really consider taking the H down over here as well. We have the other H now to potentially do something with that. Possibly something we can do over here. Right, okay, it is with the Enestrum set. That's what I thought. It's actually one that I'm surprised is not in NWL. Because it would kind of make sense, especially if... like, I don't know if Enestrum is also colons only in order to kind of pair the UM and the A ending. But that might be what's going on there. So yeah, I goes in front of cat there. Just sort of thinking about this spot. Don't think any heavy consonant is going to fit there. So yeah, I mean, you know, something like hone. Trying to see if there's anything over here, but I think I should just go vol. Like the G's kind of in the way of everything, but unless... Actually, no, let's go something like goth. Good leave, scores well. I think I'm actually fairly happy with that one. Ooh, rebiting. Bite something twice. Rebiting. I think I'll basically lose if I don't challenge it. But I'm actually fairly sure it's going to be okay, so yeah. It's one of those situations, though, where I'm going to be losing anyway, so. Also, the bingo dumped ARN earlier, so I'll just clear that. So, yeah, at this point I need to score somewhere decently and bingo. I mean, there is one blank remaining. And my opponent says something interesting, which is that to rebite. It has something to do with dipping in acid. Huh. Interesting. Let's see what we can do here. I think ideally I want to open up more space. Like, it can be through, once again, just scoring here with something like vowel. 7 vowels, 5 consonants in the bag, including 1 blank. Keeping 4 consonants, though? I don't know about that. The other thing I could do is to open up something like this to dangle an S hook for myself with the remaining S. So the idea is I want to remain open over here, and I'd like to open up something over here. We have the case O. If we do something like fell, obviously fell takes the A hook on the end as well as the S. Doesn't score very much, but it creates a scoring chance. But it won't be a scoring chance that is likely to get me 100. I will need to hit the triple anyway, though, if I bingo at the end to come anywhere close, so. This might be something. Gonna check out. Don't think it's out rims or anything like that. Check. Tourism. We have tourism. I think he's probably going to kill this spot. And I don't think I have another spot. I'm looking at this over here, and it just barely doesn't go. Because, yeah, the only thing that I have here going under AH is I. It just doesn't fit with tourism the way we have it here. V just kind of kills everything over here. I mean, this is somewhat obviously the... Yeah. Yep, that's it. Apparently blank was last in the bag. Okay, I guess we should look at whether there's anything over here. Well, I mean, we tried. So I don't think I can actually find anything at this point, but... Yeah, we could potentially just make some kind of small play down here or over here. I don't quite know. I'm trying to think about whether... There's a bunch of stuff like ovum and vum that does not take S in NWL, but a bunch of those do take S in Collins, and I can never quite keep them straight. Like stuff like WUD, W-U-D tends to take S, and I always just learn this stuff the hard way. Failing that, would just do Vims or something and just take the points. I mean, this is a lost game at this point, so... But yeah, given that with the S unseen for my opponent, and actually S blank unseen for him, since the blank came out last in the bag, this was the obvious spot for him to obstruct somehow. Like, I think if he was seeing S blank unseen, there's absolutely no way he would leave that for me. And it's a bit of a risk for him to dangle the F, but at that point he is pretty certain of outrunning, so... let's just pass on that and concede. So we did at least win that one challenge on Marinara earlier. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. I'm just going to check if we have much time to look over this quickly in the analyzer before my next pairing. So yeah, I guess we'll look over this quickly and just see what kind of spectacular plays we missed. I forgot about Spitz, actually. I have seen it before. Zoist. Person who maintains the doctrine of Zoism. Yeah, I've seen some of these fives with a Z, but I tend to have some trouble visualizing them still sometimes. Given that, yeah, puts is not unreasonable, except for the vowel heavy leave, I guess. I mean, these are clearly better, but we'll take it. Okay, sorry, one moment, just got to take care of a bunch of stuff in various chat windows. Hey, he's got the X already at this point. He's going to keep it. Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay, okay. It's because ZEX is good in Collins, and so this was specifically... what, he's playing GEP. He's hoping to draw something that will allow him to play the X there for something like a 70-point play. And yeah, that's just something I needed to keep an eye on. And luckily, Booze does kill that. FY, look at this spot for FY, that's crazy. With the Boozy hook, 50 points there. I was thinking about the Y hook there, and... well, I mean, I wasn't holding Y, and I wasn't quite sure, so... so much for that. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was looking at. Okay with that play. And, yep, he's just going to continue finding all the high-scoring stuff over here. Now, Sadik good with 2 Ds as well, I think. So if we had a second D instead of a G, I could have done something interesting. I was okay with digs, though. Yeah, leave evaluation actually recommends keeping GIST. I don't know, the G can be pretty unsynergistic. So, depends on the board, I guess. I was okay with it. Surf and turf. That's actually meant to dangle an S hook for himself. Okay, skort is the kind of word that I was looking for that I simply didn't know. A pair of shorts with a front panel that gives the appearance of a skirt. So it's shorts and a skirt. Serves me right for not knowing my fashion. Torsk is also the kind of word I was looking for. I was, in general, just looking for stuff that would have the K in that location, so. And both of these are good in both lexicons, and I really should have seen them before, actually, having looked at things like 5-tile plays with the 4 and 5 pointers on either end. Like skort, I might realistically have missed. Torsk, I should have known, although with the S kind of in that position in the word, maybe it's one that you just don't think about that often, except as an anagram of stork. Yeah. No bingos over here, but he's going to just take that spot instead of leaving it open. And yeah, interesting decision there. I don't think he's just eager to take it while the setup for himself is still there. Runyons is correct, no other options. No bingo over here, so that's the turn that he tried a Marinara. Kick that off. Interesting that a lot of these plays recommend keeping Q. Just in terms of equity. Just going to speed through this because we... Yeah, he was going to hit. We are going to start the next round in just a moment, so... Goth, yeah, pretty happy with that find. Rebiting, here's rebiting. In engraving, to freshen a plate by new application of acid, so it's going to be an artistic term. SDGML, welcome. And yeah, it is something that is Collins only, because I think it's actually Urbit or something like that. No, it's, I'm thinking of Arbit. But the whole rebite set in general is Collins only. So yeah, nothing I could do at the end there. Strategically, not that much to look at near the end, I think, when I knew that tourism was not going to go down, so we'll just get right into the next game. Just one moment. Am I allowed to use a dictionary while playing Scrabble? No. I'll explain that in just a moment, though. Like when I'm playing competitively, no, you are kind of expected to play a closed book, at least at the level that I'm playing. Oh, got a wrong dictionary entirely here. And... yeah, so at this level, with people who play in clubs and tournaments, everybody has kind of studied words in Scrabble that are valid in a dictionary and which can kind of convert very efficiently into points, I guess. Like words that are very useful specifically in Scrabble situations. So yeah, let's get into round 2 over here. So what happens is, well, let me make my play first, and then I'll talk a bit more about the dictionary. Okay, just looking at the various things with MEN, MAN as usual, see if we have any kind of good 5-letter play. Failing that, I think I would like to undouble the ends, but if we don't have a good way to do it, might just go something like nab over here, because at least MP will go together decently. Unless I just want to drop more consonants to keep double N, but I think I will just do that. So yeah, if you play a word that is not in the dictionary, that is where the challenge rule comes in. So currently, as you can see in the top right corner, we're playing something called 5-point challenge. And sometimes you'll see me play something called double challenge, which is a little bit different. And it's that if, say, I play something that is not in the dictionary because I'm guessing incorrectly or making up words as I go along, then my opponent can challenge it off and I lose that play and I lose my turn. If, however, you challenge a word that is actually valid, like you guess wrong in assuming that a word is not in a dictionary, then you give your opponent 5 points. And yeah, SDGML, wait until I've played off the current turn before you suggest something that I can play. Just so it's keeping things fair and I'm not receiving any outside help. So yeah, perfectly fine to tell me ideas that you had in mind after I've had my turn and after I've already missed the opportunity to play something. Because, yeah, and that's just for the interest of actually remaining active in chat, which otherwise I wouldn't be able to do. Okay, M goes here, P goes here. We can probably do something in this position, except... yeah, don't really like a lot of my options here. Up bow, I'm pretty sure, is a word from playing the violin or something. That sounds like what it must be. So why don't I just go with something like a temp? I only have one vowel to work with. We're likely to shed it anyway. Hey look, there's our friend Runyon again. Except with a B this time. Keep in mind that this is available as a 6. Very easy to just not look at 6s sometimes. Yeah, it's a violin word? Yeah, that's what I assumed. QI will go down here if we have anything that will fit, except I don't have anything that will go after ED, so I guess not. So the Q might just have to stay there. Yeah, just going to think about it for a moment to see whether I have anything else I can do. Like I'm thinking of maybe taking a B down this way just to take some things out. We could also, I mean, I think inborn is a word if we have a good place to just play off lots of tiles. Yeah, unfortunately nothing that will go on the ED over there, I think. And yeah, maybe if I just go something like boron down here just to turn over some tiles. 20 points, okay. Could be worse. Speaking of violins, we have the word violins. And this will be very thematically appropriate if we do in fact land it on the same board as up bow. Let's see if I have anything else. I don't know if something like lovings is okay, but definitely we have violins. We have solving. Let's write some of this stuff down. And of course we should look for 8-letter words as well. And yeah, foundering. It's, like I said, there's up bow that's already on the board, so it would be extremely appropriate for the violins to also go down. Also, the thing that looks like oboe, I only ever remember this word in Collins, OBO, because it looks like oboe, but without the E. That is how I usually spell it, oboe. Okay, so we only have violins over here, which is not terrible as a placement. Like, the I is actually not too bad as the first style there. The V closes off a lot of that side. Oh, so close to something here on the QI. The ED just has to get in the way. I actually am looking at this spot as well. Like, if we have a 9, that will go to the ED. Like, don't want to spend too much time on it though, because we do have something already. Let's just go violins. It's too good not to play on the same board as up bow, so. Unfortunately, no place to play fiddlesticks just yet. You know, we would want stick to be on the board, and we would just wrap fiddle and S around it for a spectacular extension. As far as music words go, Foundering, I still remember when I was first starting to play this game, like my very first club games competitively, that a lot of the most memorable bingos I had as a kind of baby Scrabble players were all musical bingos that I wouldn't have known otherwise. Like, I was finding stuff like Earl King and Fantasy with an IE and all that. And, like, I still remember that years and years later, because you just don't forget those kinds of finds. Maybe something here, maybe something here. Let's see. Yeah, this here scoring 60 points, that hits so hard. I was looking for something in a similar position, and just nothing would go down, so. Yeah, seeing if I can do anything here. Might have boxed myself in a bit. Might have to look at this in case there's anything. Nope. Okay, this is kind of a tough turn, I think. Might just go something like until, just to dump stuff. Oh, yuck. Okay. Of course, with the Q already sort of on the board, the U is particularly bad. But yeah, I might have to find some vowel dumps all over the board in order to get anything done here. Gallnut. Oh, okay, I didn't see that at all, actually. But I guess, as you said, there's no spot for it. That's a good set, actually, Nutgall, Gallnut. I love how they're even related by definition. And yeah, STGML, Earl King actually is a perfectly valid borrowing into English. And in fact, in the last game, we played the word Willi, W-I-L-I, which refers specifically to the spirits that are in the ballet Giselle. And that's a good one to know if you're thinking about very specific musical compositions. Yeah, Foundering, I think you had said something about playing the Crumhorn earlier. I did catch that in the Discord conversation. Love all the spellings of that. I Hadn't really thought of it as related to quite so much, even though something like a Cremona, Cremona, is probably fairly high up on the probability list, relatively. For something that has 2 of the 3-pointer tiles in it. Yeah, the thing, SDGML, that you learn about playing Scrabble with the competitive dictionaries is that there's a lot that will surprise you by being included, and there's a lot that will frustrate you in being not included. And that's really part of the experience. Now, I think I should probably just do Kale here, grab some points. Very vowel heavy over there. The N is open here for an eventual ING if I have the ability to use it. I don't yet, and that's not a good reason to keep the G, but it is a decent justification for just trying to shed some vowels while scoring points. Not shedding vowels fast enough, though, for what we need to do here. No such thing as an error guide, unfortunately, I don't think. So SDGML, because none of the tiles actually have accents or diacritics on top of them, they essentially don't really matter. Like if a word is borrowed in English, you just kind of ignore the accents or umlauts or anything else on top of them. There are some things that, like there's a good number of words that are words from foreign languages that are now just considered part of English, and there are a lot, of course, that are not. And it can sometimes feel pretty arbitrary which ones are or are not included. Yeah, still looking at the ING ending over here. Still looking, of course, at this 6 over here as well in case that turns out to be anything. But we'll see. And yes, as you can see with the anagram command, the umlaut is mutual. I might just... I mean, I'm about 30 behind right now. I'm just trying to think about what my approach is going to be. Right now we do kind of have an open lane here. If the X were not already out, ONY would have been a cool place for an S hook. V shuts down tons of stuff over here, so... You know, anything that happens in this corner of the board will kind of take 2 turns to occur. Most likely. I was actually just thinking about the ES in this spot, but we just didn't have tiles to get there in time. Just look at this parallel build over here, like 60 points for Kith, 36 points for Ains. Yeah, this sort of build over here, step by step, has just been killing me. I even think that, you know, something like During, that scores almost nothing, but at least it opens up. I don't know about that, though. I think this board is not a very friendly shape right now. Like, we can always just go, like, Unai or something. 21 vowels in a bag, 24 consonants. Creates a bit of a consonant spot here. This is also not that great, although G would go there. But all N's are already out, so G ending is pretty unlikely anyway. Yeah, something like Diva. That's not bad, actually. Because I'm behind by enough that I need to open up space, and the bottom left is a major obstruction right now of my own making. Because I insisted on playing violins. Let's do it. Yeah, so close to something like insuring, but unfortunately not. No more ends in a bag, as I said. One blank, though. I really just need to get rid of the G as soon as I can, so like rig. For the next turn. Unless we find something better over here. Pagurian, interesting. Yeah, I think I had seen the one with the D before, Pagurid. Not that we had the P to play with. So yeah, this one... Well, we'll see how the turn goes. I feel like maybe just continuing to build out with something like a dig. Sorry, rig. It's not horrible. I mean, you'd be restricted to a certain kind of ending down here, but then we also have the S that we would create a lane for, which we really do need at this point, given that this is no longer going to be a 7 lane. Like right now, we don't really have a place to use a back S, and this would actually create one as well as create an E ending on the left side, so doesn't score very much, but given that we're far behind enough that I need to think about building towards a bingo, I sort of like this. And I don't think my opponent's play changes much about that. Always have to take a look at some of the IC endings. Curaris. Yes, I've got it. I think this is good with the S. Once again, don't look it up until I've had a chance to miss it. But I believe this is good. I know Curari by itself is good. I don't know if it takes an S. But this will be to play if I can do it. If I can't do it, well, we'll just find something else. And Mang, welcome. Mang meaning Der Yogurtos, of course, for those who don't hang out with us in the Mario Maker side. One of the bounciest makers in the game. Okay. Let's see. I mean, there's one S, one blank in the bag. It's somewhat unlikely that my opponent will just take that lane, although there's some chance that she will come across like that with one of the many hooks that can go on top of rig. Or potentially you could imagine something going here that would cut off the S, although I think most of the front hooks that will go on top of ID will still take the S. I mean, I'm in a situation where I will need to try Curari's even if I'm not 100% on the S hook there, so... I actually don't know if ONY takes anything other than the X. That's one thing I've been thinking about. MY, of course, actually takes C. So, you know, if we really wanted to play risky next turn or something, we just do Cur over here and just kind of threaten the right side while opening up more lanes. But she's going to give it to me, so let's do it. Play with confidence. And Mamuga, welcome back with audio. I was trying to say hello to you at the very beginning, although I know you said you had things on mute, and that's okay because nothing interesting was happening yet at that point. We will almost certainly want to go Dozer if it remains open. 48 points over there. That could actually really close things up, considering that I actually have managed to get back into the game The other thing is we could do like a Z-related play over here, ZE, or any of the other things that could eventually go down. I am trying to see if there's anything else we can do with this, but I believe we will almost certainly just go Dozer. Let me just check this very quickly to make sure we're not missing something really cool. Like, you know, something that would go ZED, for instance. I need to remember to check this stuff sometimes. I don't think so, though. Because, yeah, that's the kind of spot I really do need to look at before playing too quickly. Dozer is 48. I think that's going to outperform most other things we can do with the Z, so let's just do it. And what a wonderful selection of spellings of Kurari. I do know the Kurari and Urari set because Urari rather, because the C and the O front hook to that are a really great set to know. I didn't think that the word was actually related to Woorali, like Woorali. I should actually type this stuff in a notepad instead of just talking about it. So I did know stuff like Woorali, but I don't think I ever thought about the definition. But the kind of Urari set of front hooks is a really fun one to know. Same with that E ending on it as well. So a lot of small plays from my opponent, where she played off 2 tiles here, she played off 2 tiles here. There was a kind of implication that she was vowel heavy, but also trying to open up a bingo spot, perhaps for the S or for the blank. I do have Ariette, speaking of the musical theme of this game. I am just going to make sure I'm not missing anything hitting the triple before I play that, because the place for Ariette would be down here. So we have a musician board today. It's just going to be one of those games. Just going to check this spot actually to make sure we don't have anything that would like finish with that kind of ending, for instance. You know, in case there's something really nice to look at. I think we'll just go Ariette. Woorali and Urali, one of the first OO combos I learned. Foundering, yeah. Along with the stuff like Ugonium, I guess. What was that word that was an OO word that's not actually pronounced oo, like it's pronounced like OO or something? It was something that's unless it was something like an OI or OE start or something, but it was something that Jello Mochas was telling me about a few weeks ago that was not really intuitively pronounced. It was some kind of element. Literates. Where did literates go? Oh, okay. I didn't even think about the L. Which is kind of a problem because I've opened up such a threatening spot for her to potentially come back. Given how much stuff goes here. Yeah, in terms of what I'm going to play, we will have to think about just how to get rid of some of the heavier tiles we have here. Because, yeah, I think she's fairly likely to bingo, in fact. Sale yard. Like where you have a garage sale or something, perhaps. Interesting. Sale yard. So I need to think about this. 86. Given how heavy my tiles are right now, I don't want to just, you know, check this for 5 points willy-nilly when I actually think it's fairly likely to be good. I do need to think about what my opponent will be playing next, whether... Well, we only have one vowel, and so unfortunately we can't do anything parallel over here. I don't have anything goes on over here, which is a big problem. You know, we could do something like this, except then we're really stuck with stuff that would be hard to play off. If I have a plan for afterwards, and actually that would be a big problem because then you have plays with the F going down here. Ideally, you know, we would be able to go down here with something. Yeah, because once again, I need to think about how to actually play out some of these consonants. Yeah, so I would really like to think about plays that I can use to just... Oh, you know what? We got it. Jag over here. 35 points. I think that even with... We need to avoid a V-stick that will have like a slow play out, but having stuff like the F and the H, if my opponent does not have kind of an immediate out, should be okay. So here's what we're looking at. So let's say we have Jag for 35. So we would be looking at something like a 426, and then we would be subtracting... I'm writing this out for the benefit of people who have not seen endgames before, how we tend to think about stuff like this. So you would have 14 tiles left, so this is actually minus 28. So my opponent needs 399, not 899, 399, so she would need an outplay, for instance, that would get her 35 points. But because I'm in a position where I might be holding a V that is very hard to play off, that changes the calculation somewhat, because it's possible that my opponent could play sort of one tile off at a time and stick me with a V. Unless I have a good place to go. I have V over here for Vice, or Viced even. But I would want to think about... oh, and then I would have DV down here, for instance. So, okay, so I won't be stuck. I think this will be a winning play. Yeah, Foundering, I think the meta definition, if I remember, is not in both lexicons last I checked. Yeah, because I remember one of the early things that I learned about playing NWL, or I guess TWL as was known at the time, was that bingos was good and bingoed is not. But I definitely do appreciate the meta nature of that. And the fact that we have the definition just correspondingly in the bot for the benefit of people who have not seen this. I think we just go Viced here. Well, actually, no, she's likely to play out, but I don't want to be hit with a V stick, and I think not being hit with a V-stick probably takes priority. I mean, I am not really calculating this. Because at this point, I think we actually do have the win. Yeah, because we should just go with it. Like, for sure we have an outplay after this, so we'll just take the win. But I'm playing off the V for probably a suboptimal sequence because I don't want to have any unexpected turns of fortune from a V-stick. Like, it's close enough that I don't want to take that risk. Like, I was ahead by enough that I felt like I won after Jag, especially because I knew the V would go down somewhere. But it was not... Like, you don't want to get into the habit of getting yourself into a situation where you don't consider the way you might lose to a slow play sequence. Yeah, Yale start, I think... Like I was thinking, I was also thinking Yard Sale, actually, when Sale Yard went down. Because I thought Sale Yard was probably the place you would have a yard sale. Anyway, how is yard sale not a word, but sale yard is? Because this is Scrabble and the dictionary just does stuff like that. I think some people really do, like, leave the game over frustrations about the dictionary like that if they don't get accustomed to the arbitrariness of it all. So my opponent will definitely have an outplay. She has stuff like Ace going down here, Lace going over here. There's lots of options. She will absolutely finish. So we'll just pass out of that. Acceptance is the important stage of wordplay, yeah. Also looking for front hooks like the S that goes in front of wordplay. Yeah, this was a fun game. Despite some really tough situations early on where I was quite a way behind, I think. But I believe I should have a chance to look over this one before the next pairings come up, so we'll just do that quickly. Mamuga, the problem with playing a non-existent word is that if you play against people who know that it's not in the dictionary, or who can reasonably guess that it's not in the dictionary, you will just lose your turn. Hence the challenge rule. So, let's get into the analysis board. Yeah, this one was a lot of fun, actually. So, I was looking at the MEN and MAN early on, and I just didn't see penman, which, of course, if you place it in a slightly different position, if for some reason you want to play here, which you would never rationally do, you could put a ship on the end. Maneb. I feel like I have seen that. I may just be thinking of other weird B hooks like a Zineb. Countering, I think I actually do know Pembina because of something that was named for it, like a place that was named for it, that I used to know. Maneb is newish, okay. Yeah, the B hooks are always a little weird. I've definitely had some endgames before that turned on stuff like Zineb, because it's just a nightmare for anybody to see. Yeah, up bow. As we expected, it is a stroke in playing a bowed instrument. And it was also the best of not very many great choices, but one that got rid of both the W and U. So, good find. I should have considered that. I was so fixated on getting parallel on the M or the P on the hotspot there that I was not really considering that this is just so much better. I'm trying to remember if this takes the F at the end, in fact. Mamuga, will I be doing... no, I'm thinking of just this, I think. And maybe Humph. H-U-M-P-H. I don't know. SDGML, I won it. By a very narrow margin. I'm walking over the game right now. I'm actually going over the game that we just played to look over the plays, so you'll be able to see how it went. And thank you for the GG. Mamuga, I'm not 100% doing the stream tomorrow. It really depends on how it goes. I will likely be doing the last sitting with Captain Toad. We have just the last level of the end game to get through, which does require a stream by itself, because it is the 50-level Pac-Man style dungeon that is kind of like a game within the game. That's likely to be the program for tomorrow, but after that we'll go back to the normal Mario Maker sequence of the puzzle day, the showcase day, etc. I actually don't know 100% if I will do the stream tomorrow, though, because of a potential conflict on my side. Look at this, that's a Toxine actually would have gone here and hit like crazy. It would not have killed my bingo because I would have another lane, but that was definitely a bit of a miss from my opponent over here. But tons of options with the X. So yeah, there's Lovings, Volpinos. That's got to be something like a... Oh, it's a dog. Okay, I was thinking it sounded like a fox. But it's a small Italian dog with long, straight hair, for those of you from the dog gang. Also notice that, in keeping with the musical theme of this board, it would have created Tempe, which I was thinking about when I played Temp. Like, I was thinking about the eye in that spot. I just didn't see something like Volpinos. Novelized. Yeah, violins on Snab, violins over here. Maybe this spot would have been better, but that's okay. I just wanted it to go down on the same board as up bow, so. Yeah, SD, I think I actually had a game with somebody last week where they missed the word Kava, and we were talking about it in Twitch chat afterwards. Not a game on stream, it was on another day. So, I decided not to spend the S, which I kind of agree with. You can see the evaluation is actually very close for that 7-point difference. I think you absolutely keep the S there. Do I know Kula? A ceremonial gift exchange between West Pacific Islands sounds like something that might be Collins, just because there are so many Pacific Islander words in there. Yeah, as I suspected. Oh yeah, and this was the Nutgall rack, wasn't it? Yeah, Gull over here. Oh yeah, Obol. I forgot about that. Or I just didn't bother to look at it, rather. Yeah. Because Until is kind of a weird play here in that it does not really give me much space to work with. It mostly just kills that spot before my opponent can take it. Anyway, here's Mosey. Motes. A pigment made from earth. Ah, yeah, okay. I think I actually have seen that in the wild. Well, I've seen the word in the wild, rather. And, oh, I totally forgot about this. This is one of the Collins vowel dumps. Along with, I think, H-U-I-A and some other ones. That would have been a good one to remember. I just didn't think to look for that. Ah, this... I think this is also Collins only, because it's with the IES ending that is good in both. Yeah. Because the IES on Astonese, or IED actually, that works as well. Round 3 pairings are coming up soon. I may actually go back to this game if I have time afterwards, because it's pretty interesting, but yeah, I just completely blanked on the snab spot there. But pretty clear what's going on with some of the later plays. My opponent's holding the other blank for a while, actually, so... Iterated. Oh, didn't even stop to look at that, and I should have seen that right away, because Iterate is just in the same rack as Ariete. And that's a set that I do know. Anyway, Literate, Laterite. So I took pretty much the weakest bingo that was available. But hey, at least we got it on the same board as all of the musical stuff, though. Sale Yard, fantastic find. And yeah, it's not for a yard sale, it's for livestock, as we looked up earlier. Lots of other stuff. Argyles, Rallies with the YES, Rayless, Grails, Raylets, Flares. And looking at the pool, I think she also knows that I'm not really going to hit anything over here, so she could really just take whichever spot she wanted. How did I miss the spot for Haji? I was even looking at Haj. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Slightly suboptimal, maybe, or... Oh, I didn't even see this up here, too. Even though my opponent took the Aji hook at the end. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we needed to look at. Let's do one last game. And we'll have the match request coming right in. So this will be in the NWL lexicon, unlike the 2 previous games, so this will be a dictionary that doesn't have quite as many words. Also, Wiggles has been updated. Let's refresh this thing. Just one moment here to make sure there are no issues. Okay, there we go. We had a software update here that hopefully didn't break too much. Okay, let's rock on, apparently. Yeah, currently just trying to find something that would land one of the heavier tiles as a 5. I don't think I will necessarily get that, though. So failing that, I will probably just do something like rock or knock. You know. Keep the N or keep the R. Or maybe just keep that instead. Yeah, let's just do that. Because then we can keep the C for something to go into the K if it remains open, which will not necessarily be the case. And yeah, Mamuga, as you were saying, that last game was a close one. I mean, I did have to fight from behind for a great deal of it. But that could have been really quite a fight at the end game. It's not super tight. I didn't need to do like a really exhaustive analysis or anything at the end, which is sometimes what you have to do to survive the last few moves. In my case, there were only a few options available, and I was ahead by enough that I was going to win, so... SDGML, this is not the same opponent. I've played 3 different people today. And as I said, this is one that's in the North American dictionary, which you can see in the top right corner is called NWL20, or North American Word List 2020. And so yeah, so borrowing into English like Earl King is valid, something like Earl König is not, so... And Mamuga Tactics is also a very regular club and tournament player. He's someone I've played in real life, actually, on many occasions. And who also plays both dictionaries. SDGML, it's the Ottawa Club because this is the group that I'm playing with. A lot of these people, although not all of them, are actually an over-the-board group that met in Ottawa before the pandemic started and killed a lot of club play. There are a lot of regional clubs like this that operate on Wiggles through the week, since right now nobody's playing Scrabble physically for pandemic-related reasons. So, like, there's a Greater Toronto Area club that runs tomorrow. I think Montreal also runs simultaneously today. This is not the only group I play with. I do play with 1 or 2 other ones as well, week to week. But it's the one that kind of falls into a streaming time that actually works for me. So yeah, pretty much all of these people do know each other in real life or have met. Not everybody is from, geographically, the Ottawa Club. They do have a lot of people who play online as guests and fellow travelers and friends. Let's see here. I have this C that will be able to fit over here. I also can think about... I have nothing here except for the N that will go on top of the U, so that's going to be off. You know, something like Klopp is not too bad. 19 points, not very much, but this board is a tough position right now. Actually, one nice thing about this is that U will actually go on top of P. Usually you don't want to keep the U if you can avoid it, but... just seeing to make sure I don't have anything better that will go down here. You know, I don't really have good plays this turn. Let's just do it. And SD, yeah, I am Canadian. You can see that there is the maple leaf flag, not to be confused with the maple leaf rag. That is beside my rating. Okay, so... yeah, not a very good selection of vowels on my side over here. Normally I'd be looking at something like the F going down to this position. Or something that would actually go to the D. And I don't know if we have anything that will actually go all the way over. I'm just searching very quickly. I don't know. I don't see anything that will kind of go to the left. Like... unfortunately, some other stuff doesn't quite fit, like, you know, unifier or something. Just, we don't want to just drop that for the S. So let's see here. I'm trying to think of something like we don't quite have something like Unafraid, which is too bad. Yeah, this is just kind of a rough turn, to be honest. Might just do something like Riff. Riff would take E on the end, so it's not really defensive, but it gets my rack out of some trouble. Okay, this might be interesting. Ooh, yikes. I feel like I'm probably about, say, one turn away from a play that is actually decent. Looking at some of the basic stuff like the UN prefix, just the W and a U really do not go well together. They are tiles that we think of as having terrible synergy. And so there aren't very many plays that will work well with those, which means that I do want to get rid of some of that if I can. Even a small play like this, 20 points, it would at least get me closer to something playable. Even though I am kind of keeping the U, which is not great. This does open up a lot of possibilities for playing on this side, though. I think we just go with it. And yeah, I see that a lot of the people having their dinner hour are apparently looking up their spaghetti carbonara and other related dishes. SDGML, you added a maple leaf rag to your BRB screen for your stream. That's fantastic because SD Foundering, who is in my chat, or at least was for the last game, is actually a ragtime streamer, on top of being a fellow Scrabble player, and so you should definitely check out that channel. I will actually punch in a shout out here. So yeah, and there has been a ragtime community that has been increasingly gathering on Twitch, which I've been watching quite a lot of recently. So I think you'd enjoy that quite a bit. Okay, so if we had something to play through like an E or a G, we would have had something like Unsigned. Could have like Inundates as a 9. Or maybe not. Let's take a look at that. And for that matter, Foundering, SDGML is also a Mario streamer, has been doing a bit of Mario Maker and some NSMBU recently. And is also a very active maker who submits good levels to me from time to time. Just looking at this and trying to think about what we can do, I don't think... Yeah, because I have the Orca hook over here. I feel like I have something here, but that I just don't see it. And I'm also taking way too long on this turn. Might even just do something like 6 points, but I'm so far behind. Yeah, I was considering Johnny's, but I don't think that's actually good. It reminds me of something, but I feel like I would have seen it. Does this create anything for me here? Or do I just want to go something like Dunce? Ego does take the S in front if I can think of something that will use the S hook. I could also just do this and open up a bit. I like that, actually, given that I can't see what that turn was supposed to be about. I almost certainly missed something. I am looking at that and thinking that like there was definitely something there. Stuff like T will go here. You know, if we just want to go Zitty for 34. Let's see if there's anything else that would go like Zingiest or... If I stream in a hot tub, I could make a lot of money. That's an interesting claim. I somehow doubt it. I think it takes certain talents to be a major hot tub streamer that are perhaps not the value added that I bring to Twitch. Yeah, trying to look for what I can do with the Z, you know, in case there's something that would actually hit in a very fun location. Failing that, I will probably just go Zitty. I feel like I've not looked closely enough at... Oh, wait a minute. Ziganis. Does that take... I don't even know if this is a valid spelling of it. I know it's good with the E. I don't know if it's actually going to finish with the I, but I feel like I want to try it. I don't know if it goes with the I, and I don't know if it goes with an IS. But I was so far behind, I needed to do something there. Okay, he's going to take it because he's just going to drop Roaring over here, which is fine because I'm going to drop something over here. Probably just something like 2. Or... Let's see, this I think is Collins only. So the problem with playing Collins is you do start to notice all of the stuff that is Collins only. 37 for this, but I don't like keeping TITI. Yeah, better than TIIA though. Yeah, because at least TITI, I still have some other plays available, like this next turn for 24 if I really want. Like I have some places to dump it. This creates the S hook, of course, on top of the S hook that's already going down that lane. Supernova, welcome. Yes, I'm a little behind in chat, but thankfully you folks are holding the fort with each other as various fellow streamers. Okay, so my lovely vowel dump spot got taken here, but that's okay. We have some other options this turn, I think. How am I still so far behind? Oh, because of Roaring. Yeah, this is eventually a lane if I have something to do with the A or I. So close to something like Inedita. But I need to shed some of these vowels. Yeah. Interestingly enough, we get something like tile. Tile, I don't like the vowel heavy hook there though. Maybe. Let's do stuff that leaves lanes open for me. Which would be something like this. Okay, this is, I believe, one of those wrecks that's frustratingly close to being decent, but just isn't. I think there are some 8s that go with this, but no real place to play 8s right now. And yeah, we'll see what we can do. Yeah, I'm just looking at this board and thinking that likely we'll just want to... maybe not that. That doesn't really open up anything. Also still leaves me with too many vowels. I mean, I basically just have too many vowels. And like this hook will eventually be promising. Also 2 S's still in the bag. Blanks are all gone, of course. Oh, interesting. That's we also have kind of just a small 2-tile play here. This might finally be when we want to do something like tile. Still very vowel heavy coming out of that, though. I'm also trying to see if there's something I can do here with the... Oh, you know what? I think anil is actually good. Does leave me with a double E, though, with 4 E's in the bag being the most common vowel. Also, notice the vowel count in the bag. It's kind of a 1-to-2 ratio right now. That's potentially relevant. Also notice that Q is still unplayed. 23 for that. 15 for that. Do we think this is 8 points worse? With T-O-E-E. Lots of duplication possibilities with the N, too. Ooh. Yeah, too many vowels. Yuck. Yeah, as far as the definitions go, I mean, the dictionary just tends to favor giving you definitions that give you the most variations on the word. Like, it's basically just the most space-efficient thing that will give you more valid words. So sometimes you do end up with some weird cases like that. If you folks know the Mario Maker streamer Fusion GT, he came in here once and he looked up the word fusion, and it gave him something Scottish. But yeah, let's see what we can actually do. This really looks like an exchange rack, to be honest. Although one thing we know is that my opponent is probably stuffed with a lot of unfortunate stuff. Interestingly, we have the last A and we have the last I in the case styles. So if we were to do something like an exchange, I would actually dump either EOO or EEOO. Or I could just play off some tiles and see if we can just create some space. Yep, and Knuckles. Mang, of course, you will have known that they recently did announce an HD classic collection of the original Sonic trilogy that is finally going to include Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So whatever disagreement they had with the Michael Jackson estate apparently got sorted out. And you can't be the Eggman, but you can be the Walrus. 14 points over there. So yeah, my opponent also 3 constants, 1 vowel. He's probably a little starved for vowels right now on his side. And so maybe the thing I should be doing is continue to leave him a bit stuffed and just try to find good small plays that will actually do things for me. Question is, can I actually do that? I have the last A, as I said. I have the last I. Yeah, because if I dump some tiles in... I want to keep a decent number of vowels. Like I would dump something like E-O-O. And then that would also hedge against drawing stuff like the Q and the X. But right now, the most prominent lanes are this, plus the S, and the S, and so... and also this. And I basically need a bingo to win, given that I'm about 70 behind, so maybe... Or we could just do an 8-point play like this. Because otherwise you would have like a Q spot here. Nope, still a bad idea. We're still drawing vowels like crazy. Threw it OO down there and picked up EE, which... 9 tiles in a bag. This will almost certainly be my very last chance to exchange. Also notice that that's still open, but this is no longer really available unless I do something about it. This doesn't really open up, unfortunately. Otherwise I would consider it. Like if we find a play that's kind of like that. Yeah, trying to see what we can do here. Because we're down to 1 lane now. If I just throw in and I don't open up, that really doesn't help me. I also want to keep U because of the Q. And this is a really tricky situation. I'm also so far down on time, I have to just play quickly. I may in fact throw in, because even if this gets blocked, maybe I'll have something else I can pick up out of that. Throw in EE, maybe? Unless I have a... I mean, I could play here. That doesn't open up anything, though, or do anything for me. We're close to something here. But not quite. 5 in a bag. And yeah, it looks like an orc is also an orca, apparently. I don't know if I could do anything here. I really have to play quickly here. I just don't have much to work with. I have to think about what I'm drawing into, though. Maybe just drop an M here to create an additional E lane. But I'm so far behind at this point that like I'd really need something like a Q bingo just to do anything. Ooh, this is an ugly situation. I'm so down on time. I have to go, I have to go. Okay, there we go. Sinuate, aunties. This will not be enough to win unless I stick my opponent with the Q. Sinuate. Sinuate. and prospective spots for aunties. I don't think there's anywhere else, so if these get blocked, and my opponent does have 2 E's, if he finds some way to extend over here, I could be in big trouble. But the fish one, I mean, this is not a particularly great place to do a fish one, but we are at least trying something. And I love how the response to the dictionary needing to watch more movies is, of course, Buster Keaton. Very good choice. Hey, you know what? Unless the Q is literally the last tile in the bag, I might stick my opponent with QX, and that'll be my path to victory. Let's think about this. We need to think about a stick. This, unfortunately, could have like an EX play on the left side. This... might actually work. There we go. I have 11 seconds, and I will not win because my opponent will at least get the X down, I think. Or the X down here for Zax. But this turned out to be a surprisingly interesting situation at the very end. Where, yeah, he left 1 in the bag specifically so I wouldn't stick him. But you can tell he was kind of in trouble there with the consonants being all over the place. So, Vane only scored 16, but he might be regretting that he spent his last vowel, but otherwise he would have been stuck with a V. So anyway, this might be first choice, but I expect that he's going to take the X in that position. I need to look at my play now because I will only have a few seconds to play. 8 points here, 9 points here. Yeah, 8 points here is probably second choice. So yeah, the thing is, if my opponent doesn't play off the Q, I get like a plus 20 off of that alone. The Y's are also all over the place. The reason I didn't play aunties is because Q-U-E-Y would have gone through the U, and that would have gotten him out of a ton of trouble. But as it stands, I currently stand to probably get about 40 points off my opponent at the end and still lose. So as you can see, that brings me within 14 points of victory. So I lost by 14. Also, Tsiganis is not a valid word. I got away with that one, and my opponent did not challenge. Now this is a game under the double challenge rule, though, which means that if he had challenged and he was wrong, like if it actually was a word in the dictionary, he would have fallen behind by a turn. But yeah, so that was just a situation where he had to outrun me with way too many consonants on his rack. He also told me after the game, by the way, that QXB were the last 3 tiles in the bag after he played VEN. Not the last 3, but 3 of the last 4 tiles in the bag. So yeah. I believe there is something here. I think it's maybe good with the E, with Tsiganis. There, let me see. Yeah, I think we'll have to look at that turn in the analyzer and see. Because obviously, you know, this is the double challenge rule, and he really wanted to play Roaring, so he thought he could just stand that and live to tell the tale. Supernova only if it's a video game about gypsies. Probably. Let me just check one thing here, actually. Just in case there are other related spellings. Hang on. that we don't know about. Yeah, there are a whole bunch of words in there that are interesting. But so I was kind of in an unwinnable situation, I think, unless I had a sequence that would prevent my opponent from playing anything decent with the X or the Q. If I knew that E was the last tile that would come out of the bag, I think this here would have been okay. Let's go back and look at that, actually. I didn't know that E was last in the bag. I would have assumed that he kept at least one vowel, so... that might have been winnable, actually. If I assume that E is last in the bag and he doesn't score as much with the X at the end, I may have gotten within range. Well, let's look at the analyzer and see how that goes. So yeah, I think I actually lost 2 out of 3 today. So I won game 2, and I lost games 1 and 3. So this is a tough group. I pretty much never get 3 wins against them, except I think I've done it maybe twice. But yeah, these are tough opponents for sure. Okay, uncork, I just didn't see. This position is kind of dangerous, though, because somebody can just play ING at the end and grab a whole raft of points off of that. It's a good word to play, it's just that in that position, it's not really all it's cracked up to be. You wouldn't want to do it here either, because ED just goes at the end. That's what we call an extension. But a lot of other words here that we didn't consider. Like kroon. Ah yes, that's Estonian money. And this is Czech money. As you can see, lots of closely related words in Eastern Europe. Yeah, he's got kind of a difficult G-heavy rack right off the start. I don't think I knew this set potful, topful. It reminds me of another pot and top set, in fact. And SDJML, yeah, thank you for dropping by for so long today. Hope you enjoyed the stream. And always good to see you around. Because I think it's something like potline, topline. I guess that goes with potful, topful as well, which I believe would also take S. Upstaged, he found it. Very good. Fungi over here. Yeah, I guess that would have been better than whatever it was I did. I just didn't see fraud. I was looking at this location and I just didn't get it. That would have been quite dangerous though because of that parallel. Yeah, pretty clear play over here. Okay, so I did not miss anything on this turn, so I think that's pretty defensible, given that it gives me some hooks over here. Yeah, let me just take a look at this here. My opponent is also looking in the examiner, and so we're just discussing this separately while I'm also talking about this game on stream. But I'll get to that when we get to the end game, because he's looking over the end game first, and I'll see if I can find what he's pointing out. And... okay, so this is what I missed. In 2 locations... I was thinking about something like unwinds. I wonder why I didn't see that. Because I was definitely looking at the UN prefix. Yeah. This I actually know from video games. Undine, I think. As a water spirit. But yeah, Unbinds, Unwinds, I should have seen this stuff. For sure. I wouldn't necessarily have seen it in this crazy location here. But yeah, so this rack I think was just a miss. Oh, look at that. It's got like Nudniks. That's a fun one. Indunas. And yeah, once again, okay, I was looking for something like that, and for some reason I just didn't see the end hook. I guess the bingo was a phony anyway, though, so I got away with that turn fine, but even score-wise, this scores a lot more. Yeah, very unfortunate that I didn't see that, because I think I easily choose to go with it over a bingo where I... Well, first of all, it was phony, and secondly, I was not 100% on it. Yeah, I think the issue here was I just didn't think about the end hook. Because I was looking at that pretty hard, and that's just kind of unfortunate, because a lot of stuff goes there. Like, you could designate the blank as to E or to G for zings. And that would have prevented... It wouldn't have prevented roaring, because roaring would still go on the left side over rallied. But I'm definitely in a much better spot. Waste down there, that's interesting. Good leave. Much better leave than some of this Val-heavy stuff I'm looking at. Ooh, Vaheen. But he's just going to go with Ra down there in exactly the spot I was looking. 16 for that. I don't know if I would have gone for it. Once again, good leave though. Probably better than going so vowel heavy. And okay, so this, yeah, a lot of stuff that just sticks to V in inconvenient places. Interesting that he keeps to V. That's really kind of strange in some ways. Yeah, there's no particular reason to keep the V anywhere here, I think, unless he just wants additional ways to close up. But, okay, this is the kind of word I hoped I would get. Anole tropical lizard. This would have been good too, actually. Just going Zoya over there. Great leave for bingo, in fact. NITE. Considering that we have 2 potential lanes for that still open. Okay. Yeah, blonde is not too bad. He's actually not that stuck with consonants yet at this point. I am, however, in a world of trouble. Lou actually is best by equity, by the looks of it. I didn't want to obstruct my own lanes. He also doesn't want to open for me. I think that's a consideration here. So yeah, he's deliberately closing up. 2T, I guess someone who's being tutored, yeah. 9 in the bag, yeah, this was an odd situation. I don't think I would have played 2T anyway. I mean, I'm hedging against a Q at this point, with the last U in hand. And I was sort of thinking I need something like a Q bingo. Okay. What on earth is this turn? Because he goes FH over here. I was looking for something like this, but Once again, that's a potential Q issue. Because the Q is not going to do anything useful. I mean, this is basically asking for a Q stick. And what I didn't know, of course, at the time was that the Q and X were two of the last tiles in the bag. The last tiles in the bag at this point are Q, X, B, N, E. And I draw the N first, and I draw the E second. But you can easily see how that would have totally fallen apart if things just shook out the wrong way. Okay, so Levy is recommended as best here. That would have emptied the bag, though. 19 points after emptying the bag, and then... that actually would have given me the win, I think, because he would be stuck with QX at the end. Yeah, he definitely didn't want a bag emptying move by any means, I think. Like, this would basically be the same situation. It would stick him with the same number of points. So, yeah, I think no matter what he's doing, he's thinking in terms of playing off 3 tiles here. Let me take a look at my final play here, though, and just think about this, because I was so low on time. I was down to about a minute at that point, and the thing I wanted to avoid was Q, U, E, Y down here. I considered this, and I saw that, yeah, X is going to be a problem here. I considered this, and the main issue I thought of with this one was EX, or like LEX down here. Also, I guess he just gets a place to play off the Q, so... because the last play was worth how much? The max play was worth 24. I lost by very little. 14. Yeah, obviously not everything is going to be quite exact here in terms of napkin mathematics, but if I play something like this knowing or expecting that E is last tile in the bag, then I think this placement, like, it gives me 68. What is that? 248 and 68. It's going to be 3... 1-6, I want to say. I need to type some of this stuff out, perhaps. Although I don't have the notepad open. So, because yeah, I have Sinuate 68, which gives me... what, 316? And if he doesn't have a place to go... oh, the best play coming out of this might actually be MY coming down here. Where even if you keep both Q and X, I think you still win. Because that scores quite a lot of points. That's, yeah, going to be 32, I think, for MY. And it's only... it's not going to be that much worse than the other outcome that we had in terms of having the X and the Q still stick around. Also, this... I mean, obviously I didn't know that E was last in the bag, but this also would have had an equivalent problem with Q, U, E, Y. Like, I think it's actually reasonable for me to assume that he has, or is likely to have, the second vowel instead of playing off something like this and leaving himself with all consonants in a QX situation. Like, it's actually kind of surprising that the last tile out of the bag is an E. But given the information I have, like, I don't think any of these is sort of a strictly winnable sequence. I probably have to take it into Quackle to find out, but this is a pretty interesting endgame. But yeah, we'll just go with that. Interesting that Blimey keeping QX is recommended as the best, simply because the 40 points here and playing off all those other heavy consonants does make up for it. But that's pretty much all we need to look at, I think, and that's going to be it for this game. So yeah, that's it. It's going to be 1-2 record today. 2 very close games in rounds 2 and 3. And some really interesting situations to look at all around. So thank you so much for everybody who has come by for this weekly session. It's a lot of fun to do this every week. I'm hoping to introduce some other Scrabble programming with time, especially now that they've built Clabberus or WordSmog into the Woogles engine, which I've been taking my first baby steps into over the past few days and finding incredibly addictive. So for the time being, the next stream will likely be, hopefully, our last crack at Captain Toad, just to finish up the final piece of 100% content we have. It will likely be tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to be back on Mario Maker for the weekend. And I'm going to send you on to a raid. Wanderer 15 is actually on for once, so it's likely going to go over there because he is really one of the founding figures of the Scrabble streaming scene. And he's doing Twitch Plays Scrabble, so there's going to be some audience participation. And so you might enjoy that over there. So we'll pass you on in just a moment. In the meantime, thank you so much for dropping by. And we will see you around. So have a good evening. Have a good night, wherever you are. And fare thee well.